Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Backlog Crew. We haven't done one of these in a while, but we're back like we promised with an episode on Mario Kart 64. Today I'm joined by John
Hello.
and Joe.
Hey,
So Mario Kart 64 is the second Mario Kart game, developed for the Nintendo 64 in 1990 something. I forgot to actually look that part up this time. Developed by Nintendo. Yeah, Joe, be my computer person in the chair for this. Um, but yeah, this was actually a really big step forward in the franchise because the first game, Super Mario Kart, for Super Nintendo, was mimicking 3D, but it was all sprite based. Whereas this actually is 3D models where actually the drivers are still sprites, but 3D worlds, and it introduced a lot of mechanics that would become standard in the series moving forward. So Joe, you played this as a kid, so I want to hear
mhm.
your just general thoughts upon revisiting it.
First of all, came out in December 14th, 1996 in Japan and February 10th, North America in 1997.
Thank you.
I I had this as a very young lad. I think it was my brother's game because he's my older brother. He had it as a set when I was a kid. And this was my first experience with Mario Kart. I enjoyed it very thoroughly, as a lot of very young children did around the time. I think this is commonly referred to as one of the most nostalgic Mario Kart 64s, or Mario Karts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only Mario Kart 64. But yeah, like you said, it introduced a lot of staples, and I think it's just like nostalgic for a lot of people because a lot of people love coming back to this game despite it not necessarily being, the best Mario Kart nowadays.
Interesting. Okay, and then John, as someone with zero nostalgia for this game, how do you feel about it jumping in for the first time?
Most of the courses I really enjoyed, and overall, pretty solid gameplay considering the age of the game. I don't want
Interesting.
to jump too far ahead, but
Oh no,
yeah.
you're fine. You're fine. Um, Well, what about like the general feel of the racing? Because you played Mario Kart 8. I know you're not a big Mario Kart guy, John, but like, how does the handling, just the way the characters move, the way you drift, how does all that feel?
Felt very stiff
Okay.
compared to playing on the Switch, but we're talking, you know, 15 years at least
Hmm.
difference between the two. So, that's understandable. But going from playing the Switch version with you guys, multiple times, I
Yeah.
would say that it wasn't that much of a difference, control wise, everything was conceptually the same. Just having to get used to the different AI systems that were in use for the time period, as well as the more, I don't want to say clunkiness, but I mean, for the time period, it would be more clunky than the nice, smoother systems that we have now. So,
I mean, it's okay. I'll say clunky.
Hmm.
Like, I'm not trying to spare any feelings. I'm sure this game was great for its time, but like, it feels not great to control. I feel like
Hmm.
anytime I need to turn left, I go a little bit right for a second first. So if I'm trying to dodge something quickly or make start a sharp turn, it just is not gonna happen. Um, what you said about like it hasn't changed all that much, like moving forward to like to the Switch version of Mario Kart 8. Like conceptually, yes, I agree. It's still the same basic idea of tracks in a set of four and the cups, moving through those in Grand Prix, earning trophies, by getting gold trophies, you can unlock some stuff. All that's still there. But the feel they have just improved upon dramatically with each iteration moving forward. And they really started to hit their stride, I'd say, starting with like Mario Kart DS is when it started feeling like really good. And then from there, they just built on that. But Joe, as someone who spent more time with it than we have as a kid, like the controls, what do you think about the controls?
The controls are a lot more stiff and a lot more clunky than a lot of the stuff that you have from today. But it is also one of the first times that they started implementing things like boosts from drifting.
Mm-hmm.
So you see how it's kind of like birthing here, where it's like they started to play around with the idea and you can't really tell that you have a boost, but it's still there and it's noticeable. But it's a lot clunkier than a lot of the games from today's because it feels choppier and it feels like you're having a harder time making turns or like it demands that you make a drift at certain points. And it also kind of feels slower in my opinion. But
Yeah,
that's
it
yeah.
definitely felt slower.
Hmm.
yeah, definitely. Just I don't know if it's the planar textures or just like the more open areas with less like stuff flying by, or if the speed literally just is slower. But you definitely do see like the beginning of some cool mechanics. You're talking about the drifting. I know that there's technically drift boosting in this, but the drifting is so clunky that like 99% of the time I just avoided doing it because it would just make me end up in the ditch. But there's also things like I'm sure there's a proper race car term for this. Is it drafting? When you like hang out behind
Yeah.
somebody and then you boost off of like their speed. And you can tell.
No, sir, that's called a slingshot.
Oh, thank you.
Tal
Thank you,
Talladega
John.
Nights.
Thank you, John. Um, but yeah, and I mean that's in this game. I didn't know that was in this game until I just happened to be driving behind somebody because I think Mario Kart Wii is where I thought it was introduced because when you get behind somebody, you can slowly see like wind pushing off of you, and it builds up more and more until you hit that boost. In this, as far as I could tell, there's really no warning. It just you're behind them, and then you get a speed boost all of a sudden.
Yeah. I don't think there's any indication at all until it actually happens, and you see wind like coming off your character's car.
Yeah, but it's interesting seeing these early versions of these things. It's interesting seeing early versions of the items. Like you have the red shell, which just makes a straight line for your enemy instead of following along the path. And I can't tell you
For
how
a few
many that
seconds.
I threw that just ran directly into a wall.
Yeah.
You have green
For
shells, which are slower than the driver is. There are several times where I threw a green shell and then in 1 second or like ran into it because I drove into it because I was going faster than it.
Yeah.
But then there's also like the introduction of like cool items. And I'm saying introduction and I'm realizing I don't have the Super Mario Kart item list memorized, but like the
How
modern
dare you?
interpretation of like how the shells spin around you, how the boo lets you like not slow down over rough terrain, the lightning bolt lets you run into people, like all that's really cool.
I really like the boo.
Yeah, the boo's fun. I like how the items aren't as boring as they can be. Like if you're playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you're in first place and you're playing on normal mode, you're gonna get either a coin or a banana, maybe a green shell if you're lucky. I was racing earlier today in second place and I got a star. Like that's just fun. That's just good stuff. It definitely adds to the chaos when people in the front can get cool items too. I get why they might change that to balance it, but that being said, so John, your favorite item was the boo. Is that right?
Yes.
What was your favorite item, Joe?
um yeah, I would probably say the boo as well. I've had the item list pulled up here and it's telling me that triple mushrooms, super mushrooms, the fake item block, banana bunch, triple green shells, triple red shells, and the spiny shell are all new items to this game.
There we go.
So this is the first instance of the blue shell, which is very iconic nowadays. I
It's,
also do want to point out that banana bunch in this game gives you 5 bananas instead of 3, as it does in like the rest of the later games.
and it's
And
interesting because instead of circling around you, they just like appear behind you in a tail, and it makes it
Mhm.
look like you're going really fast because the camera
yeah,
zooms out.
and people can run into like the second banana closest to you and take out the previous 4 along
Mm-hmm.
with you. I also like the fake item box in this game. I think looks the most like a real item box compared to
I
all the
agree.
other Mario Karts
Oh yeah,
because it's the same color and everything. It's just an upside down question mark.
I didn't even notice that difference. Like I got hit by so many fake item blocks in this game, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Um, music. What do you guys think about the music?
I
There
love the
was
music.
music.
What I mean, so the music in this game is great, but you can't hear it because all you can hear the entire time is. I was playing with, and my wife was on the couch next to me, and she's like, "Will you please mute it? Like it's just engine noise and it's really loud and annoying." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right.
You're
let's
like,
let's put
you're
on some
like,
music."
hold on, baby. I'm feeling the wind through my hair.
Slingshotting behind somebody to feel the wind.
But Joe, you're absolutely right. The music's so good in this. Rainbow Road's theme, all of it is so good, but you just can't hear it. Like, is this some weird sound settings? Was it better on like older TVs? Like, what's that about?
I don't know. I remember a lot of the music from this game pretty well, and like especially when they introduced the Rainbow Road from this game in Mario Kart 8, and they
Mm-hmm.
remastered the music like to be symphonic.
Yeah,
It was just a huge wave of nostalgia crashing over me. It was amazing to hear that. I don't know.
I don't know. If you're playing this game instead of listening to the game, just have a YouTube playlist with all the tracks and just play those instead Be sure to pause before the third lap, and the music speeds up to click the speed up version, and you'll be fine. So to get into the main, like, multiplayer is a big part of this, where you're racing with friends along tracks. There's also a battle mode, which we'll talk about later, but the main, meat of this game is the Grand Prix mode, where there are 4 cups. Each cup has 4 tracks, and you race through each of them, earning a certain amount of points depending on how you finish. If you finish higher, you get a larger amount of points, and whoever has the most points at the end of the 4 races, you either get a gold trophy first place, silver second, bronze third. What's interesting about this game, which is different than later Mario Kart games, is if you finish, I believe, below 4th place in any given race, it just says game over, and you can hit retry, and you can retry from that race. It doesn't make you do the whole cup over, which is kind of nice.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it's because none of you guys ever got below 4th place. I did.
Clearly.
But yeah, it's really interesting. It's like, which it's kind of nice, because in this game it's weird. You get like, these aren't exact numbers, but you get like 10 points for first place, 7 for second, 5 for third, 2 for fourth, and then 0 for 5 through 8. So if you get below 4th, you're not going to make enough points to win anyway. So it kind of makes sense, but it's just weird because most the future Mario Kart games, as far as I'm aware, just continue on like, oh well, too bad, do the whole thing again.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just jump right into it. So the very first cup is the Mushroom Cup. Any strong feelings about any of the tracks in the Mushroom Cup? Oh, let me say, it includes Luigi's Raceway, Moo Moo Farm, Koopa Troopa Beach, and Calamari Desert.
Koopa Troopa Beach has a really fun shortcut hidden inside of it, where you can jump through a cave if you have a boost to skip a significant portion of the level, which is always fun.
I don't believe you.
Well, I was so expert at that course, I got first place and didn't even need a shortcut.
Yeah,
very nice.
The shortcut is just distraction to make you mess up and not be first place.
If you're bad, yeah.
It's very hard.
Go ahead.
Okay, it's very hard to pick a favorite course out of these 4, because one has cows and the other one has a train.
Train and Calamari Desert is significant.
I mean, I'm just going to say Moo Moo Farm, it's just a poor man's Moo Moo Meadow. Moo Moo Meadow is one of my favorite tracks of all time. This is just a lesser version of that. It's cool that there are cows in this, but Calamari Desert is amazing because the train is hilarious. It is hilarious watching 5 computer players just run into the train immediately, and then even me, I'm like, I can beat it, and then last second I'm like, wait, no I can't, and I slam my brakes. But just like a real car, you can't stop on a dime, and then you run into the train and then you die, and Luigi's not playable anymore.
Fair. Oh, that brings up a question. When y'all were doing the races, did y'all use the same character throughout all of them, and if so, who'd you pick?
I usually alternate between Toad and Bowser. Those are my favorite 2 to play as in this game specifically.
I played Toad.
My go-to since I was a kid is Yoshi, and specifically this Mario Kart.
You
Also, each character has different attributes. Should we talk about that?
Yeah, please.
You learned how to drive,
do.
But we gotta point out why you're Yoshi. You're practicing. You're evading taxes, right? You're racing away from the law.
Good idea. I would save a lot of money that way.
Fair.
But I'll talk about the characters for a moment. So in this game we have Mario, Luigi, Peach, Toad, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser.
Mm-hmm.
Mario and Luigi are considered medium characters, and there's nothing special about them. Peach, Toad, and Yoshi are considered light characters, and they actually go faster than every other character in the game. Donkey Kong, Wario, and Bowser are considered heavy characters. They're slower, but if you run into them while you're driving, you'll spin out. So that's a plus.
Yeah, and there would be many times that I would start a race as Toad behind like Bowser, and I would get like the beginning of the race boost and run into Bowser and just immediately spin out and then still be in 8th place.
Yeah. So they all have their ups and downs.
Yeah, Toad's voice in this is hilarious because they just hadn't quite decided what he was supposed to sound like. Like this might be one of the first games where he even has a voice, and so he just sounds like a 11-year-old boy yelling. He doesn't have like the gravelly, nasally voice he has now. It's really humorous. You should look up sound clips.
I love it. I forgot what we
Um,
were talking about.
we were
I
just talking
brought
about the
up
Mushroom
characters.
Cup, Calamari Desert and all that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Calamari Desert is fun. That's probably my favorite from the Mushroom Cup personally because of the train
Yeah, it's
and the music.
definitely one of my favorite. Yeah, the music's really good too when you can hear it.
When you
I
can hear
like the
it.
crabs in the Koopa Troopa Beach.
I don't
Yeah.
like those because I don't feel like the handling of the cars is good enough to avoid them. I feel
Fair.
similarly. I feel similarly about one of the races in the Flower Cup.
Hmm.
Um,
Trooper Beach also has those random out of place ramps just in the middle of the beach.
and they don't boost you, right?
Yeah.
Nope.
How do you how do
They
you
just sometimes have items.
how do you get the shortcut? Do you have to like use a
You have
mushroom
to have
off
a
a ramp?
boost. Yeah.
Gotcha.
There's a ramp right in front of it, and you just have to aim perfectly.
Nope, it's impossible. Never did it. Luigi Raceway is the first one. It's fine. I think it's less interesting than Luigi Circuit in Mario Kart Double Dash because that at
It
least
has
has
a
like the looping back around and driving the opposite direction as people behind you mechanics, which is
it
kind of
has a
cool.
hot air balloon that comes down with an item box occasionally. It's
But
right past some other item boxes, so there's literally no reason to go for
Hmm.
it unless you missed the item box
but
before.
but you gotta. Doesn't
Yeah.
Calamari Desert? Maybe it's a different course. Doesn't Calamari Desert had just a ton of billboards that have a green shell on that just says "shot" and it's like, what does that mean? What are you
Yeah.
advertising? What is this product?
Advertising green shells, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. So, John, would you say which one did you say was your favorite?
I'll go with Calamari Desert because you reminded me of how much fun the train was.
Here we go.
Mhm.
Unanimous decision. All right. The next cup is the Flower Cup. This has Toad's Turnpike, Frappe Snowland, Choco Mountain, and Mario Raceway. And I'm just going to throw it out front. This was probably my least favorite cup overall. Frappe
Fair.
Snowland has all the exploding snowmen in it that are like the crabs where you just can't not hit them. And then
Mhm.
to make matters worse, if you see on the map that there's a curve up ahead, it's like, well, let me just use a mushroom and boost over the corner and skip the curve. But Lagartu's like, no, actually, you can't do that. You have to stay on the track no matter what. And
Mhm.
I think I think this game was in Mario Kart DS sorry, this track was in Mario Kart DS as well. And I believe that they added like walls that acted like a barrier. I could be wrong about that. I'm just kind of remembering from my childhood not hating this course as much in the DS version. That could just be for the handling.
Mhm.
Did you guys have any strong feelings about Frappe Snowland? Because that's probably my least favorite course in this game.
Not specifically on that course. No.
I
I
spe-
mean, it was all right.
I do love the exploding snowman in that level.
I mean, it's undeniably hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating to avoid.
It is worth noting that in this game, with certain items, whenever they hit you, you just literally explode and go 15 feet into the air, and it lasts forever.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Which
Sure does.
most of the items that hit you will do that, except for like banana peels and running into the heavy characters. And I just love it. It's amazing. It's so dramatic because it sounds like an actual explosion.
They really try to mess you up when you make a mistake in this game. They even have like a weird thing where if you like swerve left and right too much, too consistently, that you just spin out.
Hmm.
And it's weird
Yeah.
because when I was trying to drift on some of the later tracks, like I would try to switch directions really quick, and the character would be like, spin out,
No, thank you.
which
Yeah,
is
this game
weird.
is unforgiving.
Yeah, because like in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you're not drifting, you're doing something wrong. Like if you see a straightaway, you better drift to the left and then
Hmm.
to the right, just over and
Yeah.
over again. So it's strange.
Um, Speaking
Um,
of unforgiving, Choco Mountain has an area where you can fall off halfway through the course and end up halfway earlier in the course. But that's what makes it fun.
yeah.
Did that happen to you, John?
So, not that I recall.
You would
I
recall.
was going to talk about Toad's Turnpike.
Yeah, go
Go
for
for it.
it.
I was just going to say I got first place on that one first try, and I was very proud of myself. It was really fun. I liked bobbing and weaving. I felt like
Mhm.
at the people that drive on the highway up here, but in a safe environment, a video game.
Right.
Yeah.
Toad's Turnpike is pretty good. Like weaving through traffic, even with these kind of clunky controls, it almost made it feel better when you were successful.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think it's interesting that all the item blocks are like on the side of the road, kind of like you're making a pit
Yeah.
stop. It reminded me of F-Zero where there's like
Mhm.
panels that
Mhm.
repair your vehicle, but they're on the very edge. And if you go, yeah, you'll get, a bonus to your health, but it also just like slows you down. It kind of felt like that.
Mhm.
Um,
Yep.
Going back to Choco Mountain, whenever this was remastered for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, everyone was so excited for it. And I hadn't really played Mario Kart 64. I'd played it like a couple of times at a friend's house
Mhm.
when I was a kid, and then like once in college with you, Joe. And everyone was really excited. I was like, sweet, can't wait. And I got to it, and I was like, okay. Um, like, it's fine. It's just, there's like falling rocks in one part, and then
Mhm.
the,
It's
the,
just
the,
so brown.
the BS Canyon. Yeah, is it made of chocolate? Is that what's happening? Is it a big chocolate
Probably.
mountain?
I
I
like to
always
think so, but it's just too brown. Everything's brown.
Okay.
I always thought the rocks falling looked like Cocoa Puffs when I was a kid.
They do
That's
kind of
what
look
I
like
always
Cocoa
pretend they are,
Puffs.
which it
Yeah,
fits the theme of being chocolate.
it does. It's that canyon is so annoying because like you fall
Mhm.
into it, and like if you drive into the snow in the previous track, Lakitu's like, got you, buddy, be careful. And if you fall off of a canyon, he's just like,
Haha.
not my. I'm on break. It's not my time.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
And
fine. I like the music on that track. I like the remix for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well, but the music, I
and the,
mean,
specifically on the N64, this track has a lot of fog,
yes.
which is
Cover up all
significant
the
because
brown.
yeah, I don't think it has quite that much in the remake on Mario Kart 8,
No,
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
it
Yeah.
doesn't, and it doesn't really have it in the Switch version either, because the Switch emulation is kind of weird and like gets rid of a bunch of fog. Which for
Yeah.
this track I'm thankful for, because I played on the original N64, and you just can't see in front of you,
Mhm.
and that might happen on quite a few of these tracks. I don't really remember because I played it on Switch Online,
Mhm.
but I remember
I
Choco
think it's
Mountain
just this one.
specifically being like the draw distance being like two cart lengths in front of you. It's like,
Mhm.
no, I can't do this.
That's what everyone loved about it. It's the
You know
music
what?
and the being reset halfway through the track and then not being able to see. It's the
Yeah,
best part.
you know what everyone loves about the Flower Cup?
What's that?
Mario Raceway, the final track and the most boring track out of the previous three that had like pretty good themes, all things
Mhm.
considered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was confused why it was last in the Flower Cup.
I think it's
It
just
seemed
because
like
it
a
was Mario.
first race,
I
Yeah,
maybe.
think so.
it's weird.
Yeah. It has piranha plants in it. They don't do anything, but they're there.
But that's
They
like
show up in a pipe sometimes on the side.
that's literally the most interesting thing that you can say about this track. Like,
There, there's a big pipe that you go through at the end. That's probably the most interesting thing.
fair enough. Yeah.
That's about it.
Okay, so that brings us to the Star Cup. So the Star Cup, it has Wario Coliseum, Sherbert Lambs, Royal Raceway, and ends with Bowser's Castle. Joe, tell me the highlights.
I love Royal Raceway. That's probably my favorite track in this game.
Not what I was
Royal,
expecting. That's exciting.
it is. It has a giant jump, and then it has the Peach's Castle from Mario 64 that you can actually drive up and explore if you don't care about your place in the race. And it's like pretty accurate to the game,
Mm-hmm.
to Mario 64 rather. I don't know. It's just one of my favorite tracks. I love the atmosphere of it and the Mario 64-ness of it.
Probably the same assets.
Yeah, it probably is.
It's like they took the kind of like normalness of Mario Raceway, but then added enough like interesting ideas to it. It's funny that you
Mhm.
mentioned the castle in the background, because I don't know, now is as good a time as any you bring it up, because whenever you complete a Grand Prix and you're getting your trophies, the trophy ceremony actually takes place in front of Peach's castle from Mario 64. Now I'm not
Mhm.
sure it's the exact same, model, like literally the exact same thing imported from Mario 64. I know some of the hedges and stuff are missing from the garden area,
Yeah.
but it's still a really cool callback, because if you're just really big into Mario 64, you can see kind of I guess you can call that world building, where everything's like consistent. You're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's really interesting.
Look,
Also,
I've been there.
yeah, exactly. Also, there's a really cute cheap that puffs up like a giant balloon and spits out the trophy at the end, which is cool.
Mhm.
But anyway, back to Royal Raceway. I like that track. There's one ramp kind of towards the middle, towards the end, where it like the main path turns into a giant ramp, but it is like has sheer cliff sides, And so if you are like slightly off entering the ramp, you'll just like drive right past the side, and then you have to spend the time backing up or turning around and getting back on the ramp. There's most modern Mario Kart tracks really don't have anything that's gonna lock you in place. Like it'll slow you down, but you're not gonna have to just literally pop it in reverse to get back on course. That's not really gonna happen.
You're not supposed to miss either.
Well, you know, some of us are good at video games and some of us are me, so we're going to move on. John, what was your favorite one in this one?
Probably Wario Stadium. I did not enjoy Bowser's Castle at all. Just some of those turns, I just kept hitting the wall every time, no matter what I did. I was trying to drift a lot, and I think this specific cup is where I kind of figured out the real mechanics of the game. Meaning, if I wasn't in first place after the first lap, then I wasn't going to be in first place at the end. Is what I realized. So, and that's not saying I was automatically going to be first after just because I was first at the end of the first lap. Absolutely did not mean I was going to be first at the third lap. So I'm just saying, if I was behind in the first lap, there's no point. I should just start another one.
Wario Stadium also has a fun speedrunning mechanic where you can somehow jump over the wall and then jump over the wall again and just skip a lap.
Yeah, I have Coliseum written in my notes, but I realize that's the GameCube one. Wario Stadium is interesting. It has really long laps and it has a lot of like cool like dirt mounds that seem like they'd be fun to bounce off of. But when you don't have the tricks that were introduced in Mario Kart Wii, it's kind of like underwhelming. It is kind of fun seeing like the big comic booky onomatopoeias when you hit the ground and it's just like womp, and it's like really cute.
Yeah. Wario Stadium also has a thing similar to Chocolate Mountain where you can miss a jump in the middle of it and just be halfway through, like halfway back in the map.
Really? I just kind of assumed Lakitu would pick you up. I don't think I fell on that one.
Nope. I think
oh my gosh.
Zach fell on it a couple times. I'm also noticing here on Mario Wiki that shows the length of each track, and Wario Stadium is about double the length of the average courses in here. I think it's second longest.
Yeah. But I like it. It's a good time.
Yeah.
It feels competitive, especially when you're playing like multiplayer, like with other people, just because there's a lot of straightaways and a lot of time, like room to mess with your opponents.
And anytime there's an actual wall on it, it just has Wario's face plastered on it, repeating.
Oh, and there's
as it should.
And there's big jumbotrons that display the race that's happening, but it's like 4 smaller screens put together. So there's a lot of like cutting in the models. I'm sure there's a proper term for that. But then it's also displayed at like 6 frames a second, and it's just really it really doesn't look good. But I mean, it's fine.
N64 is doing its best.
It's the game is rendering another version of the game that it's rendering. It's fine. I understand. Going back to Bowser's Castle, this is the worst version of Bowser's Castle just in the franchise. I mean, it just is, and that includes the.
I'm glad you all agree with me.
That includes the Game Boy Advance version. Like, this one's just bad. There's so many times where there's turns that are hard to make. There's no like railing to help you not miss it, and you just end up like ramming into a corner. And again, kind of like Royal Raceway, having to like back up and retrace your steps. And there's a thwomp every other turn, like that's just getting directly in front of you. It's a lot.
Don't worry, the NPCs make those turns.
The NPCs don't get bothered by the thwomp. The thwomps wait until you show up, and then they're like, all right, I'm gonna chase this one. How does that work in like multiplayer mode? Do they just go over whoever's first, or what?
Yeah, I think so.
That would be nice. Go after the first place, because I'm in 8th place. Why are you bothering me? Like, come on.
Right.
But you know, there's the thwomp that's in jail, and that's cool lore,
the green thwomp.
I guess. Yeah, it's strange.
For some reason, they decided to design a track based on like the interior of a castle, which just means there's a lot of 90-degree turns that you can't make.
The big staircase at the end is kind of cool.
Yeah, and there's a giant statue of Bowser that breathes fire, and if I'm not mistaken, if you park in the right spot in front of it, you'll actually get burned by it and spin out.
Which is cool.
There's no reason you should ever do that, but.
Which is cool, but I think Double Dash, maybe Wii, and Mario Kart 8 all did the same thing, and it was way cooler. I'm just saying.
Yeah, See, that's what we were talking about. This is the birthplace of a lot of great ideas.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Fair. That's fair.
That's fair. My favorite track on this one's actually the one we haven't talked about yet. It's Sherbert Lambs. It's
Yeah.
probably one of my favorite tracks in the game. First of all, it's just really pretty. There's like the reflective surface of just the bright white. It's got the little Mario 64 penguins who are even making the same noises from Mario 64. Again, that's just another example of kind of like oh, this is that exact same thing from the other game.
Yeah.
But you can't throw them off a cliff though.
Not quite.
No, if you touch them in this game, you explode. So I don't know what
Yeah.
you want from me.
They learned their lesson from Mario 64.
Yeah,
They got
if you
stronger.
notice, they're all like slightly larger. These are like teenage penguins, and they're mad that you killed their brother. Like that's what's happening here.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
I have in my notes written down that the reflective ice is kind of lost in the Wii version of this course. I wrote that note a while back, so I don't really know exactly what that means. Maybe the Wii version doesn't have the reflection in it.
I guess not.
I don't know. Oh, as much as I love this course, it stinks when you fall into the water because not only do you have to get picked back up, you get picked back up and you're frozen solid. So you got the cutscene of Lakitu picking you up, dropping you off, the cutscene of being frozen, the ice breaks, and then also you spin out.
And your character's
Insult
like
to
blue
injury.
for a second.
Yeah.
It's neat.
It is really cool. It's just a really cute stage. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and like it's pretty short.
It was always fun because on the last lap you can just like make a sharp left turn and then drive into the water right after you finish.
I'll have to try that. That sounds really funny.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing after the last cup just had a really not good ice track.
Mhm.
In my opinion. Moving on to the special cup. This is the fourth and final cup. It's interesting that this one doesn't have like a crown as its logo like all the other ones do. This one
Yeah.
has like just a S inside a diamond.
Yeah.
But this one has DK's Jungle Parkway, Yoshi Valley, Banshee Boardwalk, my personal favorite when I was a kid, and Rainbow Road. John, tell me about Rainbow Road.
It's way too long.
Yes, correct.
Mhm.
Good
Way
opinion.
too long.
It is.
Yeah.
It's way too long.
In my notes, I just have 6-minute gauntlet written on it because if you're playing on 150cc, anytime you get to first place, the next like 3 NPCs are like, "Oh, I'm gonna slingshot." That's what's gonna happen right now. Oh, it's stressful. The music's great. It looks gorgeous. I like it better in this game than I do in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think this track is just more of a novelty in this game compared to all the other tracks, whereas it's pretty like it's still pretty, but it's pretty boring compared to the tracks like in the creativity they have in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
That's clever. I like that.
Thanks. It just came out of my mouth. I don't know. What are y'all's favorite courses from this one?
Go ahead, Joe.
Probably Yoshi Valley because this course is unique in the rest of them in that this level has multiple branching paths and the game won't be able to tell you who's in first because it has the usual like blocks on the side of the screen that show you who's in first, second, third, and fourth. And if you press a button to swap to like the grid where you can see all the racers going around, it just has black question mark boxes on the screen. So it's clearly tracking where each character is because they're all moving at the correct speeds, but it won't tell you who's in first, second, third, fourth, or whatever. But it's also just a really fun course, and it has a giant egg at the end that can crush you.
Yeah, the
I gotta
giant egg is
say,
definitely a plus. Go ahead, John.
gotta say, for Yoshi Valley, I had to run it a few times because I needed to know the best paths to take because I'd never played this map before. And so I just went with the path that whatever NPC was in first. I learned that path and then I restarted and did it and I didn't have any trouble with it.
Do you remember what that path was?
Not a clue.
What about you,
It's been
Joe?
25 years, and I never
think-
figured out what the best path is.
Left, right, left, and then, I don't know.
I gotcha. I think I figured out like today because I don't think I've ever gone right just like from the get go. So I did that once today, and I was like, "This is bad. This is taking me all the way around the world." I mean, I assume they're pretty even. I feel like it would be weird for them to make branching paths and some of them actually take longer. That's not usually what they do in Mario Kart.
You would
Yeah.
think that.
Unless it's like a skill based thing, where it's a shortcut. But Yeah, no, the outside just made me feel like I was taking forever. I'm pretty sure I just follow like the left wall as well as I can.
I think this course is probably the most unforgiving if you fall off as well,
Mm-hmm.
because your character just literally falls for like 15 seconds before they hit all the way to the bottom, and then Lakitu comes and brings you back to the course.
Yeah, that's really funny
It's
though.
it's
He's paid by
great.
the hour, not the job.
Yeah.
There's also like little hedgehog things
Oh
just
yeah.
like hanging out. Like
Yeah.
you would think they would be like the little spikies that are in some of the other Mario games, but I'm pretty sure they're just unique little hedgehog guys. I don't know what that's
Yeah.
about.
Oh, the crabs are probably unique to Koopa Troopa Beach as well.
No,
The
those
wikis
are
say
sidesteppers from Mario Bros. For the arcade.
the wiki says it's a porcupine.
Mm,
See, that's what I said. Sonic the Porcupine.
Exactly.
yes, I guess.
um, my favorite one in this one, like I said, as a kid, it was Banshee Boardwalk. This one's still fun. It has some really tight turns, but it never feels
It does.
it never felt unfair to me. Did it feel unfair to you guys?
No, I
Not really.
don't think so.
No, just kind of hard.
I had to redo that one a few times though.
Yeah, but it's such a cool aesthetic, and there's like that one spot where you just have to zig back and forth, and there's bats flying at you. That's just fun. That's just a good
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
It's nice and spooky, especially when you're, I don't know, 8 and playing
Ah,
it.
Bats.
I really liked DK's Jungle Parkway.
that one was my favorite
It's
out of
really
these.
fun.
Yeah, I think my
It reminds
favorite.
me.
Go ahead.
It reminds me so much of DK Mountain from
Mhm.
Double Dash,
Mm-hmm.
and I played that a good bit as a kid.
DK always has the best stages. Like
Hmm.
there's this one, um, DK Mountain, DK. Is it just called Jungle in Mario Kart 8? Whatever that one is. Whatever that one is. That one's really good too. Um, can you hit the boat in this one? Is that
I don't
possible?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But there is a unique enemy in this track.
Oh,
Apparently they're called the Kiwanos. They're not really enemies, they're just obstacles, and these are the fruit that will be thrown at you if you drive into the grass
I
on the
noticed
side
that.
of this course.
Yeah, you're not even supposed to be able to get up into the grass on like this one part, like after you jump the river, because the
Mhm.
slope is too steep. Because I tried to drive up there one time with a mushroom and it just like knocked me back down. But if you're going fast enough over the ramp, it'll actually launch you into the grass. And yeah, you just immediately start getting pelted by what I thought were rocks, but I guess they're like durians or something,
They're
getting knocked back
Kiwanos.
on course. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, this is a
Um,
really fun track.
I wrote down it's like the opposite of Bowser's Castle, which means it's really it's really open and it's really good.
Yeah, I guess so. That's one thing you could say about it.
Well, it's nice because you got the fruit and it's like kind of an anybody. It just knocks you back on course.
The
That's kind of
Kiwanos.
It's like, hey, too far, go back.
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. We each liked a different one on Special Cup, but we all agreed Rainbow Road wasn't it.
I really
Yeah.
expected Joe to come in like whole hog, like Rainbow Road
I mean,
64 is the best Mario Kart track of all time.
I'm really nostalgic to it. I love the music, and I love that you can make a jump at the beginning of the course that skips half of it.
Well,
Which,
yeah,
but
but
by that point, when you skip half of it, it's still longer than some of the other tracks in this game. And it's 3 laps too, and each lap is roughly like 6 minutes or something. It's way too long.
yeah,
And I always thought the chain chomps in this level were a little bit too much of an obstacle.
yeah, each
Yeah.
lap is a little over 2 minutes or around 2 minutes, which is still way too
Yeah.
long. Just like the whole track being 6-7 minutes is too
Mhm.
much.
It's fun seeing the faces of every character lit up by stars or whatever in the background.
That is really
So
cute.
it looks pretty, but it's probably not the best course in this game.
So, Joe, what is the best
Hmm.
course in this game?
I still like Royal Raceway personally.
Okay.
I think it's enough of a standard course that it's fine, but if we're picking something that's not quite a raceway, DK's Jungle Parkway is probably one of my other favorites,
Yeah.
alongside like Yoshi's Valley and Calamari Desert.
Okay. John?
I gotta say DK's Jungle Parkway just because it reminded me so much of DK Mountain.
My favorite is also DK Jungle Parkway. So you heard it here first. That's the best Mario Kart
I
64
did it.
track,
There it is.
unanimously voted in by us. I also have Yoshi Valley and Sherbert Land as my like runner-ups.
Mhm.
Those are also really good. Um, So, like we said, if you come in first place, that means if you get the most points across all the tracks, you get a gold trophy. If you get a gold trophy in 150cc, which is the fastest speed, there's three different speeds: 50, 100, and 150. And I could be wrong. It could just be the speed, but I think the AI gets a little more intense at the higher speeds as well.
Yeah.
But you can unlock what's called extra mode. In later games, this would be known as mirror mode. You can unlock that by getting a gold trophy in 150cc, the special cup, which I think I did this afternoon, actually, and I just turned it off during the credits, so maybe I didn't actually unlock it.
Good job either way.
Yeah, and then the only other, you don't unlock any characters or cards or anything in this game. The only other unlockable is you can get an alternate title screen, and to get that, you have to get gold trophies in all four cups on 50, 100, and 150cc. So at minimum, you have to race, at all. I put myself on the spot trying to do math real quick. Hold on. 16 times 3. What's 16 times 3? You guys have calculators. Help. Help.
48.
Is that right? 48. You have to do a minimum of 48 races to unlock.
Guys,
the
we did
alternate
math
title
in a
screen.
video.
But that's when you gotta. But like you have to do it well to do that. So this could take a really long time if you really want that alternate title screen for some reason. There's.
I had it as a kid.
Well, okay, Joe. Well, some of us are too busy being in 8th place, so.
You give it 20 years, you'll get there.
That's all it takes.
Yeah.
Joe, I'm gonna let you talk about the battle mode real quick.
I don't remember if there's more than one kind of battle mode, but battle mode in this game gives you 3 balloons.
Yes.
And you are tasked with the idea of taking items and slamming them into the other racers on 4 specific battle courses in this game. Those being Big Donut, Block Fort, Double Deck, and Skyscraper. So you hit your opponents 3 times. They either leave the race, or if they're the first one to get eliminated and you have more than 2 people, they turn into a bomb. And they can run around and also wreak havoc until there's only one player left standing.
And how is it?
It's pretty fun.
It's pretty good, right? It's a pretty
Something
good
we
time.
also didn't mention earlier is this is the first Mario Kart where you can have 4 players.
That's
Which
true.
I think probably also attributes to a lot of people's nostalgia and playing this game in a local multiplayer party setting. Yeah, it's fun. The 4 courses in here, I guess there's few enough of them that we could talk about them for a minute.
Yeah, go ahead.
Big Donut is, as it sounds, it's a large donut-shaped course with lava in the center and a couple pillars to act as obstacles. You're basically just running around in a circle trying to throw green shells, red shells, bananas, or whatever at each other, or try to knock somebody into the lava in the middle to make them lose one of their 3 balloons until you're the last one standing.
Big Donut
yeah.
is fun. It reminds me of one of the tracks that's in Kirby Air Ride. When you do the city trial, it'll be like short or long story short, you collect a bunch of power-ups and in like an open world kind of area, and then you finish and there's some kind of challenge mode. Sometimes it's a race, but sometimes it's a battle with other players. And there's one track that's just this big, like it looks just like Big Donut. It might not have like a gaping hole just like this in the center, but it's just like a big lava-y. People are gonna hit you and you're gonna fall and die, and it's gonna be fun, kind of thing. So I think it's a good time.
I guess there's similar groundwork to something like this in Mario Kart Double Dash. It's just extremely more PG. I think it's like Cookie Land or something.
Yeah.
It's the exact same shape, except it's not a giant flaming lava death pit. It's you're on a giant cookie.
Yeah. It's much less intimidating.
Yeah.
And then Block Fort, is that the next one?
That's the next one. I think this is generally considered the favorite of this game.
Yeah. It's the one I think people think about when they think about battle mode in Mario Kart, even like today.
For good reason, in my opinion. It's one giant square with 4 different colored squares that you can drive up on at 3 different levels that are all connected to each other. It's generally just a good time because there's a lot of room for mayhem, for green shells to go bouncing off of walls and red shells to go chasing around a lot of other people. A lot of spots for you to put fake item boxes and stuff like that.
Yeah, all the different elevations and the bridges, and like you can camp out and wait for people to drive underneath you and then sort of pounce down in a
Mhm.
cart. And that's just really
Yeah.
humorous, and it's a good time.
And the fact that each block, I guess, is a different color allows for some really good screen cheating
Yeah,
shenanigans. That you
that's
can know
true.
where everybody is.
But no one would ever screen cheat. That would be
Never.
morally
That doesn't
reprehensible.
happen.
Never
Unethical, I
happens.
guess.
Unethical.
Uh, Next up there's Double Deck, which is I don't know how to best describe this. It also has three different layers where you have like a darker green layer on the bottom. There's a second tier of a lighter green that's like a block that's only in the middle of the stage, and then it has a top layer that's red where you can fall down to each different layer from the tops. I don't really like this level that much. I think this is probably one of the weaker ones.
It's like an inverted block fort. Like it has the elevation, but the beauty of
Yeah.
block fort is it's really easy to get up high and then drop down.
Hmm.
And in this one, you are almost when you fall down, it's almost always by accident, and it's harder to get up than it is to get
Yeah.
down, which just really limits your mobility, and it feels really punishing when you make a mistake rather than just chaotic and like having a good time. It's like, dang it, I fell again. I got to all the
Yeah.
way around. Yeah, but it's still better than the last one.
Yeah. And then last there's Skyscraper. I think this is one of the better Mayhem levels because it's much smaller than the rest. It's basically just a big ring with some gaping holes in the middle for everybody to fall down around. But it has enough of a center arena that everybody can stay in one spot and just start throwing crap at each other. It's also kind of got a like an O-net from Melee vibe, I guess, because you're on top of a giant skyscraper at nighttime, so it's just like all these little lights you can see in the background.
Joe,
Yeah.
it's
It's not
like
O-net, is it?
it's like Foreside from
Side, that's it.
Melee and also from Earthbound. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is a lot like that. Yeah, it has these weird little gaps in it. There's not just the hole in the center. There's also like there's
There's
like
like
a
a ring going around it
yeah.
that's
It's
also a hole.
it's messed up because I think the first time
Hmm.
I started it, I didn't even see it. I thought that was just like lights, and so I just immediately
Yeah.
drove off. It's a bad time.
This is also the only course where you can drive off the outside.
Oh yeah,
It's a fun fact, I guess.
it's also perfectly flat.
Yeah.
Like I don't think there's any raised portion to hide behind at all. So I don't know.
Mm. Yeah. That's a good time.
It is a
Battle
good
mode's
time.
always fun in this game.
Yeah, battle mode is really. I think in my opinion, the battle mode is more fun multiplayer than the racing is.
Hmm. I would agree with that.
And John, you gotta get. I mean, you don't gotta, but if you ever do get Nintendo Switch Online Plus expansion pack for only $50 a year or whatever $70 with a family. I don't know. This is not an ad. Then we can all play battle mode Mario Kart 64 again
Yeah.
together.
It'll be a fun time.
Because
I'll
me,
think
Joe, and
about
Zach
it.
did that. It'd be a good time. Obviously,
Yeah.
don't spend $50 just to play with us because why would you spend money on your friends? But it's fine.
Spend $50 for
Exactly.
Yoshi Story.
I mean, honestly, though, that's a good one. I think
Is that all we had to talk about?
I think I've said like my piece about this game besides just like general overall takeaways. So
Mm.
let's go around, wrap up our thoughts on it, and then at the end of your thoughts, give it the good old press A recommendation, or don't do that if you don't think it's worth recommending. John, why don't you start?
Okay. So I'm going to reiterate what I said before. For this game, if you are not in first by the time your first lap is done, this device only really goes for 150 cc's. That's what I played on. You might as well just restart unless you just want to end up like at the back or in the middle of the pack. But if you're in the middle of the pack, you'll probably end up in the back just because you're going to get hit by a lot of things. So, but that's all par for the course. You're in a racing game with items you could mess people up with. So that's part of the fun. So I would say that overall, I liked more courses than I didn't like, and that's a good thing. So I would recommend this game. It was very fun. Like we said, it's a little bit clunky. Some of the controls are a bit, yeah, clunky. That's the best word I could come up with for that. So if you don't like dealing with clunkier controls, play a newer version of Mario Kart. You won't be disappointed. It's a very fun game series. So, but just taking this game for its merits all on its own and thinking about the time frame of when this game was released, I would say um, they did a redid version for Nintendo Switch Online, right? Like of the entire game.
I mean, it's a port.
Yeah,
Okay,
they just
okay,
brought the game to it.
right. But okay, so it does have the four cups. So okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I would recommend this honestly, especially if you had a bunch of friends you can play it with, like we just mentioned. It's definitely worth your time. Pick back through and play it. Just a nice, fun game to relax, enjoy, having
Mhm.
some fun competitions with your friends. So, I mean, overall, I would recommend it. But if you want something that looks better graphics, easier controls, just go with Mario Kart 8.
So to clarify, John,
Hmm.
you have to make the decision whether we're gonna slap a seal on this game with our brand on it that says approved. Are you
Yeah,
doing
I
that?
approve it. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Uh, I think this game is cool if you're a big Nintendo 64 fan, or if you're a big Mario Kart fan who wants to have fun for an afternoon. And I don't really think, besides maybe the battle mode, there's much to it besides that. The controls are just too clunky, and the good ideas that are there are just innovated upon and improved in later iterations. Um, so I'm not saying this game is bad, especially considering when it came out. Like John was saying, you have to respect that, but that doesn't mean just because it was groundbreaking then doesn't mean it is still groundbreaking today. And so I don't know that I would recommend this game, and so I am going to deny this game the seal of approval.
Ooh.
All right, Joe, it comes down to you. You're the deciding vote here.
So I would agree that most Mario Kart games after this have better controls, better graphics, and more single player content. I think
Absolutely.
if I were to recommend a single player Mario Kart game to somebody, I would recommend Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, clearly, because I don't think this game has too much of a single player experience aside from the standard Grand Prix modes, unless you're really into time trials for some reason. I think if you're looking for a fun multiplayer Mario Kart game, I would recommend this if you're looking for something that's not Mario Kart 8 Deluxe or whatever is the most recent Mario Kart game. I would I would recommend this because it's not a bad Mario Kart game. It is much better than Mario Kart Super Circuit. If you're nostalgic to this game, you're obviously going to love it. If you're looking for a multiplayer time, Mario Karts are generally going to be a great time regardless of which one it is. I I think I would honestly put a seal of recommendation on it because it is a lot of fun. It has a lot of great tracks and it has a lot of great music, and the battle mode is going to be really fun. So especially if you're looking for multiplayer experience, it's going to be a great time. For single player, I think it's just going to be fine.
If you're looking for a good single player Mario Kart experience, obviously Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is like the gold standard for Mario Kart at this point. But Mario
Mhm.
Kart DS actually has an entire single player mission mode,
Yeah.
which has you like fighting bosses and going through obstacle courses and doing a lot of crazy stuff like driving through courses backwards and collecting coins. So it's really interesting. I would
Mhm.
recommend that for single player mode. But I digress. Despite my best efforts, Mario Kart 64 does in fact get Press A to Talk's seal of approval. So, you know, go check it out. Go check it out because apparently it's good enough for us. But yeah,
Mhm.
uh, Joe, John, thank you guys for joining me for this one. This is a game that I've wanted to go back to for a long time, just because it was kind of a blind spot. Like Joe talked about, there's a lot of nostalgic people out there who are like, this is the best Mario Kart, or this is the best Nintendo 64 game, or
Mhm.
this is the best multiplayer game of all time. And as someone who loves, well, I like some multiplayer. As someone who loves Nintendo games, loves Mario Kart, loves Nintendo 64, I just had this huge blind spot. So it was definitely fun going back and revisiting it. I can't wait to go play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe now. All right.
There you go.
As always, if you've enjoyed this content, please give us a like, leave us a comment, let us know what you think about the game. Let us know what your favorite track was. Do you think it holds up? If not, what do you recommend people go to? Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Mario Kart DS? There's a lot of options there. If you want to see more stuff like this, then please subscribe. We've done another backlog crew on a Nintendo 64 game. We did Pokemon Snap a while back. I believe, with this exact same group. So if you love the sound of Joe and John's sultry voices and can tolerate mine, then go check that one out. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Bye, everybody.
Peace.
All right.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
We did it.
Thanks, guys.